You pour your heart and soul into your theater, but how do you actually get people in the seats these days? It's all about your website, right?
It really is.
So for this deep dive, we are going to be looking at what makes a local theater website really pop.
Okay.
Thankfully, we've got this awesome article, Essential Features to Boost Engagement on Local Theater Websites. It's from Site Design NMW. And yeah, it's got some really good stuff in here.
Yeah, they've got some great points, and it is such a vital thing to have.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
well-designed website, especially in a really thriving arts scene. They actually use Logan, Australia as an example,
Oh, wow.
which apparently is like the spot for theater. I guess it's really interesting to kind of see how all these different principles play out in like a real world setting.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dive into some of this stuff. Let's start with show listings. I feel like there's
Yeah.
so much more than just dates and times, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The article actually calls the show listing section the star attraction, which I kind of love.
Yeah, it's true. Think about it. You're scrolling through a website and then bam, you see photos from a rehearsal or like even a sneak peek of the show. And suddenly you're not just reading about it, you're experiencing it.
It's giving the audience a backstage pass before they even buy a ticket,
Exactly.
which I love. And speaking of easy access, the source talks a lot about mobile friendliness, which makes total sense.
Oh, huge. Especially in Australia, according to this article.
Yeah.
But I think beyond that, it's all about making the user experience, or like UX as they call it, as smooth as possible. You know, people are busy. They want to get information fast.
Yeah,
They go to a website. It's clunky. They're gone.
exactly. You've lost them.
You miss out on ticket sales. You miss out on
Yeah.
engaging them.
Yeah. And that brings us to the next point. Online ticket sales?
Yes.
The fewer the clicks, the better. Am I right?
The fewer the clicks, the better. Yeah. This is about boosting what we call conversion rates. Basically, turning those website visitors into people actually buying tickets.
Yes.
The article suggests offering things like seat selection,
Oh, that's good.
having multiple payment options,
Yeah.
even buy now, pay later, which apparently is huge in Australia.
Interesting.
I mean, I get it. You want to remove any barrier to purchase, right?
Absolutely.
Make it as easy as possible for people.
100%.
Ah.
But here's where I think it gets really interesting. It's not just about the logistics, it's about the people.
Yes.
The source has a whole section on showcasing your cast and crew
Yes.
through engaging bios.
Yes. And you know what I love about this is that they really emphasize that bios can go beyond just a dry resume, right?
Totally.
Imagine reading a fun fact about one of the actors. You know,
Mm.
like, oh, they also do this, or this is what inspired them to get into theater.
It's so true.
It makes it personal.
Way more engaging.
Yeah.
Way more human.
Yeah.
And it's like you're building a brand story almost.
You are.
Building a sense of community around your theater. And speaking of community, the article also talks about how important volunteer opportunities are.
Yes. I love this because it gives people a chance to get involved. They feel like they're part of something bigger.
100%.
And that sense of shared purpose. That's key, especially when it comes to our next topic, which is the often dreaded donation page.
Donations. I feel like talking about money can be a little, I don't know,
A little awkward.
awkward, yeah. But the article makes a good point. Like, you have to find that sweet spot between like, all right, we need your support, but also thank you so much for being here.
Right, it's a delicate balance.
Totally.
And one thing I thought was really interesting here was this emphasis on transparency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not enough to just be like, give us money.
Right.
You have to show people how those donations are actually being used.
Yeah, show the impact.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you go to the website and they've got it broken down. New sound equipment,
Mhm.
scholarships for young actors, commissioning a play from a local playwright.
I love that.
It's like you're not just keeping the lights on, you're investing in the future of this art form.
100%. And that builds trust with your donors too,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
which is huge when you're talking about fundraising, right? The article even mentioned using testimonials from past donors.
Oh, that's smart.
Kind of like those heartwarming stories you see on like charity websites.
Yeah, totally. Letting people share how those donations actually made a difference. I love that personal touch. And, you know, another thing I thought was really brilliant that they pointed out, the whole, like, your website needs to match the vibe of your theater.
Yes. Like you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
So true.
Right. Your website is often that digital handshake, that first glimpse into what your company's all about.
It's got to be genuine.
It's got to be genuine.
It's got to be welcoming.
Yes. And beyond just the aesthetics. Thinking about things like, is it easy to navigate?
Oh, right. Is it accessible?
Accessible. They talk a lot about mobile-friendly design, which, come on,
Essential.
we're all on our phones. But then also using inclusive language, thinking about things like accessibility features for visitors with disabilities.
Right. You want everyone to feel welcome?
Yeah.
Which is like the entire point of theater.
Exactly.
And while we're on that note of like inclusivity and all that, how important do you think it is to keep your website updated?
Oh, I think it's huge.
Right.
Because, having new show announcements, maybe you've got a blog, you're like highlighting upcoming productions, or you've got photos from opening night, it makes it feel like an active, living, breathing organization.
Lively and exciting.
Yes. And especially in like a thriving art scene like the one that this article keeps bringing up in Logan.
Yeah.
You got to stand out. You got to have a dynamic, engaging website. That's like your secret weapon.
It really is all about translating that magic of live theater to the digital space. Like, you want people to go to your website and be like, oh,
Yes.
feel that excitement you get when the lights go down and the curtain goes up.
Yes, and that actually makes me think of the very last point that this article makes, which is they leave us with this really great question, which is, if your website were the only preview that someone saw of your theater, what story would it tell? Like, what action would it inspire in them?
It makes you think bigger picture, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not just about showtimes and like, donate here.
Right.
It's about what is the heart of this theater and how are you communicating that?
It's that invitation to be part of something.
Right.
And a well-designed website, especially for a local theater, it's more than just like, here's information.
Yeah.
It's an invitation to engage with the arts, to connect with your community, to experience the joy of live theater.
Beautifully said. So to all of our theater enthusiasts out there, go check out your website, look at it with fresh eyes and think, is this inviting? Is this exciting?
Yes.
And hopefully the answer is yes.
Yes.
And if not, you know what to do. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.